Hello everyone, Bard here, and welcome to the conclusion of Matrix Month. And now we come to the last movie for this month. However, it's more of a compilation feature than an actual movie. It's a feature that many say is good or is better than the original, the Animatrix. Released on home video in between Reloaded and Revolutions in the summer of 2003, The Animatrix is a compilation of 9 animated short films centered around the ideas, philosophy, and style of the Matrix. Each of them have a unique style made by 8 directors. Most of them are animes, and apparently some have female leads wear only a tank top / underwear combo or show off their bodies in other ways. I mean, why is it like this? The first short, Final Flight of the Osiris, is about a ship called the Osiris that comes across sentinels and drills that are digging through the earth to reach Zion, and the crew of the Osiris flees from sentinels chasing them, as one crew member goes into the Matrix to deliver a message to Zion about the approaching machines. The next 2 shorts are of a 2-parter story called The Second Renaissance that chronicles the origin stories of how the machines destroyed Earth and all of humanity, and even help in recreating humans, which was briefly explained in the first film. The 4th short, Kid's Story, tells of how the character Kid, from Reloaded, was saved from the Matrix, in much the same position as Neo was in the first film. The 5th short, Program, tells of a woman in a simulation confronting a man named Duo that wants to take her to the Matrix, and both of them fight as she continues to refuse his offer. The 6th short, World Record, is about a man who, while in the Matrix, tries to beat his own running record, while under a usage of steroids, while agents come by to stop him. And the sport itself is intertwined with flashbacks of the man talking with others before the race, and what his outcome would be. The 7th short, Beyond, tells of a group of kids who enter a house which they think is haunted, but is really an anomaly of the Matrix, in which objects float in midair, time slows down, and mysterious shadows and glitches appear. Yet one girl only went to the house to find her cat, who discovers something more mysterious than the house itself. The 8th short, A Detective Story, is a film noir-style story of a detective on a case to find Trinity, with clues related to Alice in Wonderland, and to a discovery that agents were using the detective to find Trinity. And the 9th short, Matriculated, is about a small crew who takes a downed machine and bring it into the Matrix, in which the machine itself feels curious, yet has a feeling of wanting to be with the people who brought him in. Overall, this has well-made animations and have unique ways of telling their stories. But individually they have pros and cons, and most of them are just okay. The first 4 shorts were based on stories by the Wachowskis, tending to be more of spin-off tales than original shorts. And they are fine for what they offer. Final Flight is the only short done in CGI, and other than looking like the Final Fantasy movie, it also feels like it's part of the original films, especially when the Osiris is flying and taken down by sentinels. The action is immense, the visuals are impressive, and it ends just like how the title implies. For what could have been like a deleted scene from The Matrix Reloaded, this short is a fascinating spectacle, even if it ends on a sad note. The Second Renaissance Part 1 and 2 has a decent balance of dialogue and visuals. Part 1 goes over the machines being used to do man's work, yet aren't respected, until one of them rises up against its owner and murders him, leading to the machine in a trial and every machine fighting back, only to be defeated. Part 2 has the surviving machines thrive in their own economy, which displeases the humans, and block out the sun, which is the machine's main source of energy. But that doesn't stop the machines from going in a war against the humans and winning. Yet this brings much misery to the machines, and study what's left of humanity and eventually play God by creating human life. Overall, this 2-parter has a great setup for what the first film would be. Yet it's also the most graphic out of all the shorts, with blood, gore, brief nudity, and intense moments of gritty violence and scenarios. But it has nice transitions from one scene to the next, nice visuals in both the light and the dark, and it does become scary from time to time. The only problem I have with this is its connection to the Matrix movies, in that the machines recreate life, yet there's other machines that destroy it. Why is that? Is it the way they're programmed? Is it because of a glitch or a hack? Like, why make machines that kill humans and still have machines that not only create humans, but also help humans? So this idea sort of makes little to no sense in the overall world of the Matrix. Regardless, the Second Renaissance is a fine 2-parter. Kid Story is a different kind of origin story. Not only do Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, and Clayton Winston voice their characters from the original films, but this short is likely the most stylish for a Wachowski story. The setup is like in the first film with Neo, except it happens in a school, there's a chase involving Kid on a skateboard, and the way he gets himself out of the Matrix is by committing suicide. That seems logical? Okay, so how Kid gets out of it kind of doesn't make sense, but the way it's done is pretty much fine, with slow motion, camera shaking, and done in a melancholy fashion. And the rest of the short is an amazing feat for what it is. A very sketchy style of animation that has graceful movement all around. Being suspenseful throughout and questionable by the end, Kid Story is a nicely put together short. But as much as the Wachowski shorts present themselves as spin-offs, the rest of the shorts are mainly original. While the animation for them are nicely done, the execution of them are questionable for my taste. With Program, it goes alright for the most part, but even when Duo asks the woman to go with him to the Matrix, it's kinda confusing, because aren't they already in the Matrix? It's established early on as a simulation, and in the end, it's revealed that Duo is just part of it all. It also doesn't help when the woman leaves without talking about it. So basically, I didn't get the ending to this one. But this does have some fine animation, nice action, and okay dialogue, even if it didn't go anywhere. In the end, Program is mostly okay. World Record, on the other hand, is even more confusing, in particular with the way it's edited together. I can get the premise alright, but did it have to be this clunky? It goes from the man getting ready to race, then cuts back and forth with him having talks with his father, a reporter, and his friend/possible drug dealer. And also in between them is scenes of the man in his tank getting shocked or something, while his Matrix self is being caught by agents who are told that he must not wake up, and what is going on right now? It goes all over the place that the entire short can't keep to one area before going on to another. And it all ends with the man breaking his own record only to break his legs, and end up in a hospital where he somehow has walnuts and is stopped short when trying to get up. And I have no idea what I'm watching or getting. As fine as the visuals are, they just can't keep me from understanding this mess of a story, as editing goes. In short, World Record does break its record of confusing me silly. Beyond is pretty straightforward, and is a different kind of story in that it all happens within the Matrix, as far as I know. It's kept pretty simple as these kids explore an anomaly of the Matrix, and have fun with it, breaking bottles to be reassembled, flow above the ground, often in slow motion, and all the while, agents come by to stop this, and replace the anomaly with a parking lot. This is an interesting short in showing what would happen if people in the Matrix discover the flaws of it, or come across something they don't understand. But all I'd like to know is what's behind the door the girl and her cat saw. It's only pitch black with some voices going on, and it's never explained what it is. But that's the only issue I have with the short. With fun visuals, a simple story, and an interesting idea, Beyond might be my favorite in this feature. A detective story is another interesting one, as it's told in the style of a film noir, complete with shadows, strange angles, the detective's narrative, and done in black and white, with hints of color added. Visually, it's a marvel to witness, yet story-wise, it ends on an ambiguous note. You see, after Trinity is found on the train, she gets rid of the tracking bug that was in the detective, only to have agents appear and chase the two down. But as the detective slowly becomes an agent, Trinity says he didn't make it, shoots him, and escapes the train, leaving the detective to face the agents alone. And is that it? I mean, what's with Trinity saying he didn't make it? Is it to be saved from the Matrix or what? And how did shooting him fix it? This one mystery is worth going over than the actual mystery, which in all fairness, is a fine one. The short is a lovely take on a genre that never gets old, and follows it well. So overall, a detective story is a nice little case to end all cases, as the short states. And the final short, Meticulated, is not only the weirdest, but also the most depressing out of the shorts. Directed by the creator of Eon Flux, this story features a well-made combination of CGI and hand-drawn, the most trippiest of Matrix worlds, and cool machine designs. But the ending feels upsetting to me, as Sentinels arrive and kill everyone, and only leaving the redeemed machine, called the Runner, trying to save them, but just too late. And it makes it more depressing when it's the last short in this feature.
Yet the stuff beforehand is pretty much okay, with most of it showing the runner exploring the world of the Matrix and having to be very curious every time, and it's only the main heroine that gets them to show emotional feelings. Aside from this Matrix being the most visual, colorful, and out there of others, this idea of bringing a machine into Matrix is a fine one, and is explored just as nicely. And despite having a downer ending, Matriculated is a fine short with fine ideas.
And I would like to go over the voice cast in this, but there's a lot to mention and I like to keep this a short review, so let's end with my final thoughts.
As a whole, this compilation feature is all fine. The characters and their stories are okay, the stories themselves are fine, but the animations for each one are pretty enjoyable. For being part of the Matrix franchise, this does take the ideas, philosophies, and style of the trilogy and expand them beyond what the original accomplished, by showing that people of both the real world and the Matrix have an awareness of what's going on, and not be second nature to the likes of Neo, Trinity, and so forth. But the problems for me with this is that the characters, while sometimes simple, aren't given much for me to like, and the stories sometimes don't seem as impressive, and they don't give out much and have endings that are either just right, very questionable, or depressing. While I admire its styles and animations and ways of telling the stories, the overall experience is just okay, yet feels underwhelming.
So today, this feature will be given a rating of 2.5 mixed stars. So that's it for Matrix Month. Thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, and until next week for a new video. And now we come to another movie review of a film that I saw in theaters, and I hope you enjoy it.
Now we come to a movie that I want to love as much as the original, but in the end I actually enjoyed it. It's Disney's live-action remake of the animated classic Beauty and the Beast, based on a 1991 animation screenplay by Linda Woolverton. The story itself is very much like the original, so there's no need in going into so much detail about it, but there are a few additions, such as Belle wanting to discover about her mother, a few additional romances, mostly with the servants, and a few character changes. Director Bill Condon has done a marvelous job of remaking a Disney classic, with good characters, a well-done story, very enjoyable effects, and amazing songs. Though while it does feel rushed at times, and especially when getting to the songs, and even the best moments of the original, it could have took its time to relish in the magic and even beauty of a film that I know so much and still continue to love. Even the servants, which I thought were too detailed and freaky in the trailers, I kind of gotten used to them. Still, new things that were added, as well as renditions of the songs, both from the animated film and a couple of new ones, are just as wonderful. Of course it doesn't top the original in any way, but it's a fantastic movie nonetheless. So today I'm giving this movie a rating of 3 stars.
And that is it. So thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, and see you next week for a new video. And take care.